was a guest speaker at symposiums and gatherings at Salem to tell the stories of the hauntings of Ohio, witches and all that. And in particular, they were fascinated with this story about the Bethel witchcraft trial. And like I said, it's in a book called Howe's Historical Collections of Ohio. It's out of print. Some libraries have a copy of it. They won't let you take it out, but you can go in there and read it. And it's got all sorts of, not just ghosts and witches and all sorts of unique, fascinating things about Ohio history. But it hasn't been put in print in years.
For the Salem witch trials, what is your take on the subject?
On the Salem witchcraft trials?
Mm-hmm.
It was a horrible thing in American history. A lot of innocent people accused of things they didn't do at all. But there was such an incredible fear of it that a lot of innocent people who were just different were murdered. That's what it was, murder. They weren't executed, it was a murder. And then it turned into revenge. If there was somebody you didn't like, you started rumors about them and then convinced other people they were witches, they were murdered. It was horrible. It was a horrible
Do you think we should have any real world concerns?
No.
Alright. Who was involved with the trials and why?
In Salem? Mostly old ladies. Mostly old ladies who lived by themselves because they were divorced or never been married. They do typically what old people are noticed doing, but everybody does it. Talking to yourself, talking to your pet. Talking to a black cat was termed talking to the devil. The black cat was supposed to be a servant of the devil, so that was associated with a hotline to hell. You were talking directly to the devil. These people were just different, and they were executed because they weren't like everybody else, which hasn't changed today. If somebody's different, they're persecuted.
So you don't think the theory of witchcraft is possible, or like the actual witches is possible?
I think there's people that believe they are, and I think there's people that believe there are witches. Personally, in all the years I've been doing all my historical investigation and research, the only real witchcraft trial or anything involving witches in this county was the trial that occurred here in Bethel in 1805. It is the only recorded witchcraft trial in the state of Ohio. It happened here in 1805. A little old lady lived down near where the Speedway gas station is. She was in her 80s. Her name was Nancy Evans. She had never been married. She owned a little log cabin where the Speedway gas sign is there at the corner of 230. She talked to her pet, which everybody talks to their pets. But these people converted that. 2 teenage girls. These girls were called the Hildebrand sisters. They lived midway up the block as you head towards Bethel, on the same side of the street as the Speedway. And these girls thought that they could make themselves popular, well-known, what have you, by starting these vicious rumors. And the girls went out to prove that this lady was a witch. Excuse me. And one of the things they did is Mrs. Evans would offer them candy or fruit or vegetables or something. And these girls would take a bite out of it, throw themselves on the ground, gyrate around, scream and yell if they'd been possessed, they'd been poisoned. And enough people saw this, they believed it. Well, fortunately, the chief of police in Bethel, his tavern is sitting where the U.S. Grant building is today, the museum. He was from England. His name was Houghton Clark. And when he was a sheriff over in England, he'd already dealt with this kind of stuff. He didn't believe for a moment Mrs. Evans was a witch. But what he did is he proved to everyone else that Mrs. Evans wasn't a witch. And he had to do to some stuff. So what he did is he picked her up and threw her out of the canoe into the pond. This is a woman in her 80s. And she's drowning. And some people finally were smart enough to go out and save her. And brought her off. So she was found innocent of being a witch. The Hildebrand family, they escorted them out of town for causing this problem. And Mrs. Evans' family lived up in the Hamersville area.
Any proven evidence that actually occurred? Like in
what occurred?
The Salem witch trials or
it's been written down. It's in historical records. But, just like any court today, they wrote down all the records. Every trial that took place officially, legally, and by the laws of the colony of Massachusetts. At that time, that was still part of England.